You've been watching President Donald Trump host a roundtable at the White House. The roundtable is focusing on taking on the terrorist organization Antifa. We're going to be monitoring that event, but right now we're moving on to not guilty to both counts. That is what former FBI Director James Comey said during his first court appearance. Today is something none of us thought we would ever see: a former FBI director walking into court to answer to his own criminal indictment. At 10 a.m. Eastern, Comey was arraigned at the Albert V. Bryan United States Courthouse in the Eastern District of Virginia. A few weeks ago, Comey was indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of false statements and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. Those charges were related to his testimony on September 30th, 2020, before Congress. Comey's testimony 5 years ago was about his handling of the investigation into alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. In court today, Comey's wife, Patrice, his two daughters, Maureen and Claire Comey, and his son-in-law, Troy Edwards Jr., they were all present. And this courthouse, by the way, is very familiar to Edwards. He was a federal prosecutor in that very courtroom until his father-in-law, the former FBI director, was indicted. Edwards then quit his job as a federal prosecutor. District Judge Michael S. Nachmanoff presided over the hearing. Judge Nachmanoff says if Comey is convicted, he faces up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Trial date for Comey has been set for January 5th, 2026. But note, and this is very important, an indictment is not evidence. It doesn't prove anything. It's just notice to someone that he's been charged. And you know what today is? It's day 8 of the government shutdown. And here's more bad news. There's no end in sight. Today, for the 6th time, the Senate failed to pass a continuing resolution bill to end the shutdown until November 21st. Meanwhile, how are we Americans faring this 8th day of the shutdown? Not so great. Airports, which many of us use all the time, are feeling the pressure. You know that can't be good. The FAA is reporting staffing issues at these major airports: Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. As a result, there are flight delays all across the United States. But that's not all. More is expected. TSA and air traffic control workers will call out of work, making this problem even worse. Right now, TSA and ATC workers are working without pay. And of course, delays, they're very annoying, but don't tell me this is not creating a potential safety risk. House Majority Whip and Minnesota Republican Congressman Tom Emmer joins me. Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Greta.
This is really the problem on the other side of the hill right now. But tell me, what do you see transpiring at this point?
Well, it's pretty outrageous what's happened. The House voted back on September 21st on a clean continuing resolution. What does that mean? That means that we are going to keep continuing current funding levels through November 21st. Why did we do that? There was a negotiation between Republicans and Democrats, by the way, back, I think, the second week of September. For the first time since 2018, both the Senate and the House passed motions to go to conference on appropriations bills. They're very close to wrapping up the first 3. They want to move on to 3 right after that. So the idea is to get back to a regular order appropriations process. This extension was supposed to allow that. Then it went over to the Senate, and it just sat there, and now we understand why. Because Chuck Schumer, who's afraid of losing his leadership post, this is what it's all about, because if you look back, just 6 months ago, he supported the exact same type of CR, and by the way, he and his colleagues in the Senate, Greta, supported the same CR 13 times under the Biden administration. The only thing that's changed is that Donald J. Trump is in the White House, and these guys want to pick a fight at the expense of hardworking Americans, who you just mentioned, the air traffic controllers. But let's talk about the TSA agents. Let's talk about Custom and Border Patrol. Let's talk about our servicemen and women who, when we get to the 15th, they're already not working for pay, but on the 15th, they won't get their paychecks. And it's all because Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate want to have some kind of fight to make a point for their base, the terrorist wing of their party, that they're fighting with Donald Trump.
But a fight is a good thing politically if, in the end, you think you're going to win. I mean, because, it's maybe not a good thing for the American people, but I don't see what, the Republicans are basically asking, as we say in court, a continuance till November 21st so you can work out your issues with the Democrats. But I don't see what would be a win so that he could go to the steps of the Capitol and say, we won, we fought the good fight. I mean, What could he possibly achieve?
Well, right now, there is no win for the American people because of Chuck Schumer. And think about this, Greta. It'd be one thing for them to message that this is about health care, right? But they filed a bill in the Senate that is a counter to the clean CR. What does that bill provide? $1.5 trillion more in spending. That's not what the American people want. That's not what they voted for last November. They want to put illegals back on taxpayer-funded health care. In the Working Families Tax Cut Act, the CBO estimated that the verification tools that we put in that bill for Medicaid will remove 1.4 million illegals. They want to put them back on.
Okay, this show starts at 4 o'clock, so I'm here on time at 4 o'clock every day. Actually, I come much earlier. I have never understood this year or years past is that everybody in Congress, and your party is the majority, knows you've got this drop-dead date of September 30th. You got it. We got to fund the government, be ready to go at 12:01, October 1st. Yet, for some reason, you guys don't do your homework or something. Can you explain to me why, knowing that deadline and knowing you're going to have it next year and the year after, why is it that you can never meet this deadline and we have this big drama and sometimes shutdowns?
Well, this time, it's all about Chuck Schumer in the Senate. We did do our homework, and we did negotiate this and get it done.
The House did.
September 21st.
Well, except
well,
not exactly. You wanted a postponement until November 21st. So it's sort of like your paper's due on the 15th of December, and you asked the professor to get it on the 20th. So you're asking for a little bit of something.
Greta, if we're going to talk about CRs, I don't like them. There's no Republican that I know that likes a CR. The problem is the system has been broken for decades. You have to do 12 appropriations bills. You got to do it regular order, and you get them done by midnight on September 30th. The last time that happened was in the 90s. We are trying to get back to that.
Why did it happen in the 90s? Why could they do it in the 90s and not now?
That's a great question. Why can't we do it now is a better question. The House has been less than relevant for a long time. The Senate and the White House usually do these deals right at the end of September, and then guess what? You get a CR, and then you get another one, then you get another one, and then you get one of these big, massive omnibus bills come next July where everybody wins. No, they don't. The American people lose because everybody gets what they want, and you just keep spending and spending. What Republicans are talking about and what the president wants, 12 appropriations bills that actually fund the government for a year instead of some big Christmas tree that everybody puts their light and their ornament on before it's over.
I guess as a lawyer, I think of worst case scenario, and I'm a sort of not a fear monger, but I'm always worried something really bad's going to happen. And while this sort of the shutdown, is sort of an interesting opportunity for us to learn a lot of issues about how Congress is run or doesn't run. But I'll tell you, if one airplane has one problem, there's going to be a lot of blood on a lot of hands. And when I read every day about the stress on these workers who do show up, who aren't calling out sick, and I already know that they were stressed out before this. We saw all the problems in the Newark airport a couple months ago before September 30th. It scares me. And it's like, I don't know why, but, that's my big fear.
I'm with you totally, Greta, but this could have ended 6 times already. All you got to do is pass the clean CR that is sitting in the Senate. Hopefully they'll do it tomorrow. We've got to get this thing done. And everybody who's watching, call your Democrat senators. I've got 2 of them in Minnesota.
Well, you got to call Rand Paul. He's a Republican. He's not on your side on this either.
Great. We only need 4 more Democrats, and Rand Paul, you can call him as well. We need the votes. It's 4 people. That's all we need to get this thing across the line in the Senate without hurting our passengers, air traffic controllers, TSA, our military men and women. Women and children and infants on WIC benefits. Thankfully, the president's going to fund those somehow, but it's like all you got to do is vote for it.
What happens if they vote for it tomorrow and all of a sudden the shutdown's lifted and it's voted so that there's a continuing resolution November 21st? Can you tell me what happens November 22nd?
Well, we had Tom Cole at the press conference this morning on the Hill, and Tom Cole's our appropriations chair. He told us you've got 3 bills that are very close to being closed. You reopen the government, we can get those closed, move on to the next 3.
We're not going to all of a sudden have that of November 21st. We'll have the scramble again. There's a shutdown on the 21st until Christmas, and we see who wants to go home to spend Christmas with his family.
Not with Republicans, you won't. But remember, we control the House where we need a simple majority. Democrats have 7 votes that they have to give us in the Senate if we're going to get something to the floor, and they're blocking it right now.
It's just, this is just incredible, though. It's like, there's so many issues on the table, and And it's annoying and hurts a lot of people. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people protecting us, and that's bad. But it's the big thing that could happen.
I totally agree with you, Greta. But again, this doesn't have to be this way. You just need to get Chuck Schumer and company to vote for it.
So you got your deal past the House. So congratulations. It's not you guys. It's the Senate. What are the Democrats saying to you in the House?
Well, the Democrats in the House have no leader. They have no message. I mean,
but you managed to get it by. But I guess you did it.
No.
Well, it's right. Party lines.
With one Democrat vote.
Who is that?
Every other Democrat, Jared Golden from Maine, voted with the Republicans. There were a couple others. The vote closed that came running down that I think wanted to vote for it, but they weren't there.
Now that's another thing, not showing up for the vote.
I mean,
that's it. I show up at 4 o'clock every day.
You got to be on time. When you're hired to do a job, you show up and you do your job. In this case, though, now you hear them crying about we need to call the House back because we need to vote to pay our troops. You already had the vote. You all voted no. You voted not to vote to support the troops, not to support TSA, not to support air traffic controllers. Now you want to come back and re-vote after you got buyer's remorse. Yeah. Call your senators and tell them to vote for the CR so that we can get this thing open and get our job done.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer from the great state of Minnesota. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greta.
And we're going to go back to the White House where President Trump is still holding that roundtable on Antifa.
Just to prepare it so that we went in with, I guess you could call it a surge, call it whatever you want, but would be even more effective. And we're going to be doing that and very, very strongly doing that because Chicago is a very unsafe city. It's a great city. The head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, "Sir, please save Chicago. It's a great city. It can be saved." Other cities are gone. I mean, they're lost. They can get better, but they're just really, they've been so decimated. But I'm so proud of what they've done so quickly in D.C., and it's taking place quickly in Memphis, where we were asked to go by the mayor and by the governor. And it's really incredible what we can do and how fast we can do it. Let's go for 2 more. Would you like to go? And then, Katie, you'll go. Okay, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, for having us here. And not to sound like a broken record, but it needs to be said that Antifa is real. Yeah. It's real. It's a threat. I just saw them last weekend over in Portland while they're causing mayhem over there. And the reason why they're such a big problem is because we have Democrats and a lot of people in the mainstream media refusing to acknowledge that they even exist, right? So how can we as a country begin to address it if we have large swaths of, these people who are supposedly decision makers and people who are supposed to inform, they don't want to say that it exists. Because the common argument is like, well, they're not a real organization because there's no national leadership, they don't have a national headquarters, so how can law enforcement go after a group that doesn't exist like that? Well, law enforcement goes after criminal groups that organize to rob banks or do smash and grabs. They don't have a registered LLC, they don't have official membership cards, they don't have a business address, but law enforcement still goes after them because they're working as a group. These people don't just show up, randomly at the same time to do the same thing, dressed in a very similar fashion, espousing the same ideology. And they say, well, it's an ideology. It's like, well, yes, it's an ideology because there's people alive, present, that believe in it, and they're acting on it. And so I've been very well aware of what Antifa's been doing. I was very busy during the riots in 2020. That was probably my most exposure to them prior to this year. I've been at the ICE facility at Broadview. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, unfortunately, but that's where I grew up around. Like I said, I was in Portland. I was covering the riots in Los Angeles as well. And probably one of the most disturbing parts about that is, in addition to Antifa being present, they were tagging the streets with CJNG, which is Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, which is a cartel. So you have these people who are working basically in concert with other terrorist groups to say that we're here, we're present, and we're gonna attack federal agents and people who are gonna expose what we do. And so, to be clear, political violence, sustained political violence that we're seeing in this country is not a both sides issue.
President Donald Trump is still hosting his roundtable at the White House focused on taking on terrorist group Antifa. We're going to be monitoring that event. But coming up, Hamas terrorists just handed over a list. What's on the list? Find out when the record continues.
Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers ahead. Charlie wrote this in the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat, by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America and that you must read and share this book. A #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available everywhere. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online today and read Charlie's final words.
I'm Guy Fieri, and I'm asking for your help in supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as it continues to pay off the mortgages for fallen first responders and Gold Star families who have died in the line of duty and left behind young children. Not only that, but they are also building mortgage-free smart homes for catastrophically injured service members and have recently committed to eradicating homelessness amongst our veterans. We ask you to join us on our mission to do good. Go to T2T.org and donate today.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's Anti-Kibble Breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
You've asked me that 3 times already.
I did? This is exactly how it started with Mom.
Worried about your brain health? Cerefolin Brain Wellness has a dual-action formula that slows cognitive decline while improving memory, focus, and concentration. Those taking Cerefolin Brain Wellness experienced a slower rate of brain shrinkage. Now also available without a prescription at cerefolin.com and Amazon.
It changed my mind.
Neurologist recommended Cerefolin Brain Wellness.
Day 8 of our government shutdown, and worse, there is no end in sight. Earlier today, the Senate, again, failed to pass a continuing resolution bill to end the government shutdown until November 21st. This was the Senate's 6th attempt. Republican senator from Wyoming, nicknamed the Equality State, by the way, is the first state to grant women the right to vote back in 1869. Congratulations to Wyoming. And Senator John Barrasso joins me. Nice to see you, sir.
Great to be with you. Thanks, Greta.
Senator, you need 4 Democrats in order to get this over the goal line, and that's 4. You've been needing 4 for several days. Have you gotten at least one of the 4, or is anyone sort of breaking or budging?
Well, we continue to talk to a number of Democrats. Look, Democrats are playing a dangerous game, and people are getting hurt in the process. And it's not just me saying, Greta, today, the Washington Post editorial page, Democrat leaders play a dangerous game, and people that are getting hurt are our military members who are not going to get paid, women, infants, and children on a food program. All of those things are real people getting hurt because the Democrats will not do now what they did 13 times when Joe Biden was president, which is to pass a continuing resolution to fund the government at current levels. And why won't they do it? Because President Trump is in the White House. They can't stand him, and they have to show their terrorist base of their party that they're fighting him. So Chuck Schumer has essentially set up a war room. This shutdown has been months in the making. His war room, he turned over to the most liberal wing of the party, and they said, you got to shut it down, Chuck, because otherwise you're going to be out as leader. We're going to make sure you get primaried in New York by AOC. And we looked at the politics in New York. You can see they've nominated a Marxist socialist for mayor. That's the direction of their party. Chuck Schumer wants to try to remain their leader. So he's saying, whatever you want. They put a leash around his neck. They're holding him on a tight leash. They say jump. He jumps. This is wrong. He needs to stop this. We need to get the votes to open the government. We've done it 13 times when Biden was president. People are hurting, and it's up to the incumbent upon the Democrats now to open the government so more damage isn't done.
All right. It was supposed to be done September 30th, as we all know. The continuing resolution you're asking for is a clean one, meaning you're not asking for any changes, but that it lasts only until November 21st, assuming that all of a sudden Chuck Schumer says in the next 5 minutes, okay, we're going to vote for the continuing resolution until November 21st. Can you guarantee for me that on the 21st, we're not going to shut down again because Republicans and Democrats haven't finished their work that was due September 30th?
Well, what I can tell you, Greta, is we have appropriation bills way through the process. Had a meeting today of all the Republican chairmen of our committees. Susan Collins made a presentation. 3 bills are finished. There are another 3 ready to go. As each appropriation bill passes, she has said, and what I can tell you for sure, is that by that date, November 21st, we could have enough passed that 88% of the government is fully funded. So if there is a shutdown after that, it would be a limited shutdown to maybe 12% of the government, but not an across-the-board 100%. We would make sure the military was funded, all of the issues that we face as a nation. So you're talking about something pretty small as long as we can get to November 21st.
What happens when you pass Senator Schumer in the hall? Do you say, hey, Chuck, you know, how about this? Or do you look the other way? I mean, what's it like behind the scenes?
Well, if you've seen any pictures of him, he kind of has his head down, looking at the floor, doesn't look up very much. And that's the situation now. And other Democrats who talk to me on the floor know that they've made a mistake to do this. They're trying to get a way out of it. But, you know, they have this No King's March coming to D.C., coming the week after this, not this weekend, but the next on the 18th. And Chuck Schumer wants to be able to stand up in front of them to say he stood up to President Trump. I think that's what their end game is, to try to show the large crowd that comes, the radical wing of the fringe of the fringe, that they are standing up to President Trump. But in the results, people are getting hurt. I mean, can you imagine a young mother at the grocery store filling her cart, and I can imagine this happening in my home state of Wyoming, goes to the cashier and uses the card, her WIC card, women, infants, and children, and they say, well, we're sorry, there's no money on this. And what's that young mother supposed to do? That's the damage that's being done by the Democrats today. We're seeing the same thing with members of our military who may not get paid next week. If we don't end this by the 13th, checks won't go out on the 15th. These are real people with clearly anxieties, worries, concerns, and the Democrats don't seem to care at all.
Okay, what happens if, I mean, let's say that Senate Majority Leader Thune and Senator Minority Leader Schumer work out some deal. They do something. They work out some deal. That now changes what was sent over from the House, that clean resolution. If you make any adjustments to that, it's going to have to go back to the House. Am I right? So that's going to further delay things?
Well, that's why we ought to pass what's on the floor. The House has sent us in a bipartisan way. You just had Whip Emmers on talking about that, a clean CR to just continue funding at the current levels. That's the thing to do. That's what we ought to pass now. The Democrats have done it 13 times. It goes right to the president's desk. I was with him in the Oval Office on Friday. He's ready to sign it as soon as we can get it to him. That's what we need to do. We need to get that passed and get all of this other stuff behind us, because people are being hurt today, and we just can't allow that to happen anymore in this country.
Senator John Barrasso for the great state of Wyoming. Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
Thanks, Greta.
Hamas terrorists say they have now handed over a list to Israel. On that list are the names of the Israeli hostages they will release, as well as the Palestinian prisoners they want from Israel. This exchange is part of President Trump's peace plan for Gaza. Hamas released this statement that reads in part, quote, today, lists of prisoners to be released were exchanged according to the agreed-upon criteria and numbers. Meanwhile, indirect negotiations continue today with the mediators. On another positive note, Hamas adding to its statement, the mediators are exerting great efforts to remove any obstacles to the implementation of the ceasefire steps, and a spirit of optimism is prevailing among all parties, end quote. Coming up, President Trump is calling for jail time for 2 Democrats. That when the record continues.
My allergic itch was a growing problem for me and my human. Then the vet gave me Apoquel. It works at the source and starts relieving itch in as fast as 4 hours.
May cause worsening of existing parasitic skin infestations, serious infections, or pre-existing cancers. New neoplasias have been observed. Do not use in dogs under 12 months of age with serious infections or in breeding, pregnant, or lactating dogs.
Big or little itch, ask for Apoquel.
Apoquel. $600 a year. If you're 50 plus, you could save up to that much by switching 2 unlimited lines from Big Wireless to Consumer Cellular. And we've got the same reliable coverage. So why don't you pick up your phone while I take this hammer and... I can't feel my feet. See how we can cut your bill. If you're over 50, get 2 unlimited lines for $30 each. Call Consumer Cellular.
My employees and I want to thank all of you at Newsmax for your continued support of MyPillow. It's because of you and the grace of God that we're making it through. And to thank you, we're bringing you the best offers ever. Get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, now only $29.88. Our My Towels are finally back in stock. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. Towels that actually work. What a concept. And for the first time and the only time ever, you're going to get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code when you order today. Inventory for these offers are extremely limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Hockey is back.
Back to work, guys. Let's have a start. Here we go, boys.
Oh, you think I'm scared? Star-studded.
You better be ready.
Everybody's back.
There's a lot of personalities on that panel. I'm just fire pissed.
I'm going to key your car, buddy.
Let's go! Unbelievable. Oh, we are ready to go. Boys, this should be great.
Don't miss this week's featured flooring deals at Lumber Liquidators, now through October 16th. Laminate flooring as low as 59 cents a square foot. Bellowood 8.5-inch pre-finished white oak for $4.99 a square foot. Hurry, ends October 16th. LumberLiquidators.com.
Derriere, caboose, booty, badunkadunk. No matter what you call it, if you have hemorrhoids, your tushy is no laughing matter. So don't use a cream that treats your rear end like a joke. Get serious relief with Recticare Advanced Hemorrhoidal Cream. Recticare Advanced is seriously effective with 2 powerful medicines for rapid dual-action relief, soothing the uncomfortable swelling, itching, and pain of your hemorrhoids. For serious hemorrhoid relief for your buns, get Recticare Advanced.
A new threat from President Donald Trump today in a post on Truth Social. The president writes, quote, Chicago mayors should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also, end quote. Now, this comes after the mayor of Chicago, Democrat Brandon Johnson, declared ICE-free zones. Johnson signed an executive order that would stop federal immigration agents from using city property. Meanwhile, National Guard troops are already gathering in Illinois. The Trump administration is deploying troops to Chicago to fight crime, over the objection of the governor and over the objection of the mayor. Crime is also the hot topic at a roundtable at the White House. President Trump convened a panel on Antifa. Let's listen back in.
People may wonder, what's the threat to us as Americans if we go? Well, you'll be labeled as a fascist, you'll be labeled as a Nazi, and they'll wish death upon you because they wish death upon me. And just last week in Portland, Oregon, I watched a lady get trapped in her car, surrounded by Antifa, and her sister messaged me after seeing the video. She said, the only reason I think my sister was safe is because you were there recording. I also was chased out by a member of Antifa who said he would smoke me, and next thing he knew, a DHS sniper had lasers on his chest. If he was not there, who knows what would have happened that day. These people are very dangerous, and people wonder how they're able to do it. The reason is because these cities are not enforcing the law. And why should these people be worried if the law is not being enforced? And we are not far right, nor are we far wrong. We're just right. And the truth about what's happening here in America with these groups is very dangerous. And I thank you, Mr. President, and your administration as well for acknowledging that.
Thank you very much. It's too bad you have to go through it.
I know,
it's
a little crazy, right, Mr. President?
Well, you're going to get to the bottom of it, so it's a very important thing you're doing. Thank you very much. Please, Ken.
Yeah, I've just got something very short. I'm attacked every time I do my job. When I leave my house to go to work, I am violently assaulted. I've had guns pulled on me. I've been bear sprayed. I've been beaten down. I've been almost killed. So my question for all of you is, how would you feel if every time you showed up to work, masked militants tried to kill you? Because that's how we feel. That's our lived reality. And you guys go and tell us that we're liars, the riots aren't that bad, right? I've never seen any of you guys on the ground. In fact, I've never seen anybody representing the companies you work for on the ground. You guys come to us for interviews that never get published. Stop saying we're lying. We're not. We risk our lives every day to do the job that you guys are too afraid to do.
What network would you say is the worst, if I could ask?
Oh, man, yeah, that's a real tight spot.
Honestly, it's a simple question. And it's just...
Well, there's a lot of people in this pool, and I would say I'm not talking about Fox. I'm not talking about Newsmax or any outlet that resembles them, so I'll let you guys put the pieces together on who I'm exactly talking about.
Who would you say? Which network would you say?
MSNBC, for sure.
Oh, they're terrible. I agree. They're
CNN,
terrible.
probably close, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rate it that way, yeah. MSNBC, that's Brian Roberts.
Yeah.
That he allows that to happen is a disgrace.
Absolutely.
And CNN is second.
Yeah,
I
second.
would say CNN is not quite as bad as MS.
MSNBC is not really a news
others?
site anymore.
Oh, MSNBC is sick.
Yeah.
They're sick.
Well, sir, it's
who
also
else?
just the stories that they publish about what's the ICE enforcement operations that are so heavily slanted that it's no longer, as I was saying, no longer just Antifa, but Americans that are becoming radicalized. So they've been very irresponsible with how they've been reporting
Who
on
is
it.
that?
MSNBC, for example, they're...
Would you rate them the worst?
Probably.
Who would you rate second?
Well, they ran a story about an operation in Southern California about how a father of 3 Marines was arrested, and they made it seem like they just did it because he's brown. But there's video of that same man charging at the agents with a weed whacker. Now, I've worked with weed whackers back in the day, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of one of those. So that's why he was arrested, but the story was presented as if it's a brown guy just simply being arrested. And I've been around ICE agents, and, I'm a citizen, so, I feel fine. But it's just, that's why. It's not just Antifa. It's not happening in a vacuum. It's
No, it's working in conjunction. I think they work in conjunction with some of the media. I think ABC is very bad. I think NBC is very bad. And CBS has a new owner, so we have hope for CBS. CBS has a great new owner, my opinion. But I will tell you, ABC is terrible. NBC is terrible. NBC's MSNBC too. They changed it. They moved it over legally so they couldn't be tainted by the words MSNBC, but they are absolutely terrible. There are a lot of them. What about independents? Independent networks.
They're a little bit better, but I would say that we're an example of how you don't need to be part of a super large company to be able to do just basic journalism. All you got to do is sit and record, and you'll let the story play out. And that's why they hate us. That's why Antifa targets us.
A level of dishonesty that's incredible, where answers are changed. Like just before the election, an answer was changed by Kamala. She gave a horrible, death-defying, election-defying answer, and they took the answer out and they replaced it with another answer that she gave 5 minutes later, having to do with a different subject, but at least it wasn't election-defying. No, the level of dishonesty with the media is incredible, whether it's on Antifa or many of the other groups. You're talking about Antifa, and I know that's close to your heart because that's the one that's most affecting you, but there are others that are as bad or almost as bad as Antifa, having to do with different people, different sections of the world, but it's terrible. We're not going to let it go on in this country. We're not going to let it go on. And a big problem is not all of them, but some of the networks out there. And you do wonder why. You really do. Okay, please. Go ahead, yeah.
Mr. President, thank you again.
Thank you.
My name's Jonathan Cho. I am an investigative reporter for Frontlines Turning Point USA. I'm also a senior fellow at Discovery Institute in Seattle. And I cover far-left extremism as well as the homeless drug crisis in America. And I find it oftentimes those...
You've been watching President Trump's roundtable. He just took a lot of the networks to the woodshed, including some of the guests he had there. But Newsmax, we got a shout out, as I interpret, as being fair. So at least I like to hear that. He was hearing firsthand accounts about Antifa, and we're going to be monitoring that event. Coming up, who is the federal judge presiding over former FBI Director James Comey's trial, and what president put him on the bench? That when the record continues.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.
Frank Parisi was a fireman for 32 years. He's retired now, but not a day goes by that he doesn't think about the friends he lost and the lives he saved along the way. I wanted to know where it comes from. This willingness to run toward danger when everybody else is running in the other direction.
It starts within. You have to have it in you to go into danger, but you don't realize it. And you got to do your job, you're trained, and it just clicks in. It's got to be in you, though. It's not for everybody. And you have a satisfaction. I have 2 life-saving awards, and I saved a couple people, and they're still around today, and it makes you feel good.
Frank switched to Pure Talk for the same reasons I did. He appreciates a fair deal, and he wanted to be in business with a company that shares his values. If that sounds like you, the offer on the screen is the real deal. Just like Frank, a proud American who switched to a wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
At Balsam Hill, we're crafting joy early this year. For a limited time during Balsam Hill Days, save up to 40% off plus free shipping on our beautifully designed lifelike Christmas trees, now made with more sustainable materials. Find your holiday spirit at balsamhill.com.
Mother Nature never takes a day off, and neither does LeafGuard. LeafGuard, the only seamless one-piece rainwater management system with a clog-free guarantee. In most cases, we can install LeafGuard in less than a day, and it comes with a lifetime transferable warranty. Call now for 10% off LeafGuard, a $100 Visa gift card with purchase, and a $50 gift card with estimate. Plus, call during this program for our double savings sale. Double your savings to 20% off a complete LeafGuard system. Double your bonus to a $200 Visa gift card with purchase. And if you call now, we'll double your free gift to a $100 gift card with estimate. And once you get LeafGuard, you'll have more time to go on vacation. Be one of the first 50 homeowners who call now will receive a vacation voucher with purchase of a complete LeafGuard system. Call now to take advantage of our double savings sale. Don't deal with those old gutters any longer. Call now for LeafGuard.
LeafGuard handled it great. We had an awful lot of rain the last couple of days, and we didn't get any clogs at all. All of the rain just went right down through the gutters. All the pine needles slid right off.
LeafGuard works so well that it's earned the Good Housekeeping seal 20 years in a row. Don't deal with those old gutters any longer. Call during this program and take advantage of our double savings sale. Double your savings to 20% off a complete LeafGuard system, and double your bonus to a $200 Visa gift card with purchase. And remember, with LeafGuard, the top's not a cover, it's part of the gutter, and it comes with a clog-free guarantee. And if you call now, we're going to double your free gift. Receive a $100 gift card with your in-home estimate. And the first 50 homeowners who call will receive a vacation voucher with LeafGuard purchase. Call now to take advantage of our double savings sale. Don't deal with those old gutters any longer. Call now for LeafGuard.
As you know, today was arraignment day in federal court for former FBI Director James Comey. Comey appeared before District Judge Michael S. Nachmanoff and entered a plea of not guilty to a 2-count felony indictment. One charge is making false statements. The second is obstruction of a congressional proceeding. Judge Nachmanoff is a veteran defense lawyer turned judge. He spent more than a decade as an Eastern District of Virginia federal public defender. He served 6 years as a magistrate judge, and in 2021 he was nominated to the bench by former President Joe Biden. Former federal prosecutor Jim Trusty joins me. Jim, I think this is a tough case for the prosecution.
I think it's early to know, because one of the things that I think we're going to see is a bill of particulars request, which is kind of a routine motion saying, tell us more about what's in this indictment. But here there's a lot of public confusion about exactly what the false statement is and who it is that supposedly is the person that was acting to forward the leaks to the New York Times. So I think it's early to know what the evidence is going to be, but whatever it is, thumbs up, thumbs down, it's a quick trial. You know,
oh, well, that's the Eastern District of Virginia.
We're talking about a 2-day trial here, right?
A rocket docket, as we call that docket across the river. Here's an interesting thing. I was talking to Alan Dershowitz about, so I got to give him the credit for this one because I thought it was so interesting. The false statement was allegedly made on a Zoom call with Jim Comey in Virginia and Congress in Washington, D.C. And and all Jim Comey says, or they asked him the question, and Jim Comey said something like, I stand by my testimony, or something like that. What Alan Dershowitz said to me is he thinks it could be the wrong venue, because that he thinks that he would file a motion for change of venue to get it into D.C.
Yeah, I mean, Alan's being creative, and
he's a smart lawyer.
He's been around.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. Look, I think venue is a pretty expansive concept in federal jurisprudence. Like, it's hard to lose venue, and so I think the fact that you have a guy sitting in his house in Virginia is going to be enough. You know, I don't think that this is going to lightly go to D.C.
It's enough to delay the trial, not a whole lot, but it's enough to at least put a little stick in the spokes a little bit. All right. he's being represented by Patrick Fitzgerald, who was the one who went after Karl Rove, which I think was grossly unfair for allegedly leaking the name of a CIA undercover agent in, I think, 2004 or something, when Fitzgerald knew it was someone else who had admitted to it, but he went after Rove anyway. Do you know Patrick Fitzgerald?
Don't know him personally, no. Know him by reputation.
He says it's the honor of his lifetime to represent Comey. And your thought?
That brings me back to the seashells, Greta. There's nothing honorable about a guy that's that petty and that is that small that he's rearranging seashells to say 86-47. So, look, the big basic foundation for this case is that Jim Comey, a guy who's been found to violate policies 5 times by OPR, made a
Office of Professional Responsibility.
Sorry, and he made a conscious decision to have a friend serve one purpose: access sensitive law enforcement information, leak it to the New York Times. Now that doesn't mean you make this case,
but
that's
you're talking about
underpinning.
something that's a little bit. He was fired. This is when he was fired in May of 2017, and he was mad at Trump. So he gets some of his own notes that he had in a safe from February, and he gives it to his buddy at Columbia University Law School to leak to the New York Times because he doesn't have the courage to do it himself. And so I think that makes him look a little dirty and sneaky. Which
well, hold that thought, because yes, if that's what we're litigating, and that's what tracks with one of the OPR investigations.
That goes to intent, though. I mean, it goes. I mean, it may not intent to this, but it doesn't show exactly honorable behavior.
No,
it may not be a crime.
There's a lot of hubris here, but here's what's kind of crazy. The OPR report on that very issue says essentially we find that he authorized Richmond, the guy that's his special employee, to leak it to the New York Times. It's written very subtly, but they go, we questioned Comey who the second source was for the New York Times, and he indicated he had no idea. It was him.
Well,
that's what they're suggesting, that he was probably the second source.
I don't know that, but I should say, to sort of clarify, is that that's not in the indictment.
Correct.
He's not charged with that. It's just that in the indictment they have to show intent, and they have to try to jump in his mind, and they use some of his other things perhaps to show that maybe he isn't as clean as he likes to think he is. But anyway, it's an interesting case. Jim Trusty, thank you.
Sure, good to see you.
Joan Kennedy has passed away. She was the former wife of former Massachusetts Senator Edward Kennedy. In 1983, she divorced Kennedy. United States Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. took to X to say in part this: "My beloved Aunt Joan Bennett Kennedy, former wife of the late Senator Edward M. Kennedy, classical pianist, music teacher, and advocate for mental health and addiction services, passed away peacefully in her sleep at her home in Boston, Massachusetts yesterday at the age of 89. She was a kind and generous aunt to me and to my 27 cousins. She was the last survivor of an extraordinary generation of Kennedys," end quote. Coming up, 2 women on different sides of the political aisle are both raising eyebrows. That when the record continues.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
In every pour of 4547 Patriot Edition whiskey, you taste more than whiskey. You taste freedom. Crafted to honor the patriots who built this land, protected by the warriors and the first responders who guard it every day. Forged in the makings of history on the road to a greater tomorrow. Now the fastest growing new whiskey in the country. Raise your glass to tradition. Raise it to heroes. Raise it to America. Built by patriots, for patriots.
October 7th, 1,200 killed in Israel, 46 Americans, 250 taken hostage.
What happened here is a large-scale invasion. They entered Israel to kill anyone that they can.
Just shooting everyone like in a duck range.
We come back to the car, and there's 2 baby seats with hundreds of bullets.
And then she texted me, "I love you, you're everything." And she stopped answering.
In my kibbutz, we had a baby 9 months old that they murdered.
Hamas murdered my sister. When I buried her, I buried a part of myself.
I think Hamas would do it again.
raping women, beheading babies, killing innocent people.
As long as Hamas is over there, we're not gonna have peace no matter what we're gonna do.
Let's stand for freedom, not terror.
When you need to prepare for unpredictable adventures, you need WeatherTech. Laser-measured floor liners, front and rear. Seat protector to save the seats.
They're all yours. They're here.
Hey, I knew you were coming, so I WeatherTech the car.
Can we get ice cream?
We can now.
Yeah.
Order your premium American-made products at WT.com.
Shopping trips.
Whoa. The unexpected can happen to any of us. That's why SelectQuote makes it easy to get the life insurance coverage you need to protect your family for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month.
We could help you save more than 50% on life insurance.
Believe it or not, it's happening. The 2026 election season is on, and not with a whimper. It's pretty wild already. A Democrat running to take California Governor Gavin Newsom's job, he's term limited out, is getting a lot of attention. The candidate, Katie Porter, had an exchange with this reporter.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%? Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
You just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel
you
like
need
this
them
is
to win.
unnecessarily argumentative. I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care.
Meanwhile, another top California Democrat who people thought might run for California governor is back in the news. You know her name, former Vice President Kamala Harris. At a recent stop in Los Angeles to promote her new book, Harris made a vulgar remark about the White House. We can't repeat it here, even though we're cable. But one thing we can repeat that is TV friendly is that Harris called the Trump administration, quote, crazy. Interestingly enough, the word crazy also came up in a campaign email, in a Republican's campaign email. Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who is running for re-election, sent out a fundraising email, the topic, uncovering the truth about aliens. Congresswoman Boebert writes in the email, quote, they tell us we're crazy, like we can't see these things flying through the air with our own eyes. I say enough is enough. The American people are not children to be spoon-fed half-truths or dismissed with vague excuses. Host of CPAC Now America Uncanceled and former White House Strategic Senior Advisor Mercedes Schlapp joins you. Nice to see you. All right, let me just go first. I got to say this is that the way that it was edited, that Katie Porter interview, is that unfortunately what has to get edited out for time is there was a lot of back and forth between her. The reporter kept asking this question. I'm sympathetic to Katie Porter on this because the reporters would give it a rest. It was a pretty silly question to begin with. But anyways, I was sympathetic.
Greta, I can't believe you're sympathetic. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
no. Like, I actually think that the reporter was very fair in asking the question. She was very calm. There was no sense of any sort of aggressive tone in her voice. You know, I think Katie Porter, instead of just saying, I'm taking off the mic and I got to get out of here, she should have used humor to basically maybe de-escalate the situation.
That might have been better, but I think, as much as I like my job and I like to ask questions, we always want to score the big point.
Right.
And sometimes we beat a dead horse. And sometimes we're really not fair. We're not asking for probing questions. I mean, what's really important is what this woman, if she becomes governor of the state of California, brings to the state of California. And going back and forth, that wasn't played for the viewers, unfortunately, just showed it. You know, I just give it a rest. Ask her some policy.
I think definitely ask her the policy question, but I think there's something to be said about if you're going to be governor of California, you are representing everyone in California, the citizens of California. That includes the Trump Republicans, which, let me tell you, it is a growing number in California, especially in places like Orange County. And yet Katie Porter gets all all upset about the interviews. This was, I don't know, it was such a softball interview. I'm sorry. It was CBS News. It wasn't even like she was going to, a conservative network or anything.
I imagine, I mean, that you probably had some appreciation for Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, taking on the Senate.
Right.
And I just feel sorry for politicians. I mean, they're not always my favorite, but I feel sorry because they take a lot of dumb questions, and I think sometimes they ought to start standing up to us a little more. I don't want them to stand up to me, believe me, but I think, I don't blame people for getting annoyed.
Well, I think they'd be scared to stand up to you, quite frankly, Greta. Okay? I don't know if Katie Porter could do an interview with you. I think she'd be petrified. There's no way. Because her policies are so far to the left. She is so in bed with the Democrats.
I don't even get to her policies.
Agenda. But you would get into the policy discussion. This reporter obviously didn't do it, but I still think that there was a way for Katie Porter to come out of this looking like the one, on top, the winner, right? In winning this kind of interview and saying, okay, we talked about the Republicans, and guess what? I'm going to work really hard to try to get their vote, despite the fact that the woman is probably closer to being just very aligned to a very progressive agenda, which sadly fits California.
Sadly we never heard about, but we get to play this, we get to edit it, we get to do this thing, put it on all the websites, and look at silly Katie Porter. She got mad at a reporter asking her a bunch of questions and not giving it a rest and not going after policy.
Well, with the networks, they keep getting sued over whether they are editing interviews or not. We saw this with 60 Minutes.
Well,
and
we just did that.
Harris.
We just edited it. Don't say anything about that.
We edited, but what I'm saying is that, but to show Katie Porter saying, no more, taking off the mic, I find that to be childish. I think you got to be tough when you're going to make tough decisions as governor, and you got to be able to just, tell the reporter, I've answered the question. Let's move on. Let's talk about the policies that matter for the people of California.
All right, Bober. Let's move on to Bober, the Republican member of Congress running for re-election.
I got to tell you, Greta, I love campaign season because this is when you have the craziest ads that come out, whether it's on one side or the other, to the point that you don't even want to watch another ad because they could get so negative at times. But look, I think for Lauren, you got to give her credit in the sense that these are questions that the American people had. Remember when all those drones were in the air and we were going in New Jersey and everyone's going, can we get to the bottom of it? We wouldn't get an answer from the government. It took months.
I agree with that. I agree with that
part. What? What are the lights in the skies? Are they the drones? What are they? And let me tell you, they've actually had these sort of hearings on the Hill, the classified hearings on the aliens and UFOs.
And I got to go. I'll see you on Right Squad tonight. Don't miss Mercedes on the Right Squad tonight. She won the debate tonight. Anyway, Major League Baseball playoff series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers is underway. At Monday's game, a high-profile guest was there. Who? Former President Joe Biden. Biden, a longtime Phillies fan, was in the stand during Game 2 of the series, of course, cheering for his Phillies. Now that he's not the president, he could play favorites. Biden also spoke with baseball fans and took pictures with them. In the end, President Biden was not his team's lucky charm. The Phillies lost 4-3. Game 3 of the series is tonight. If the Phillies lose, out. Coming up, a very sticky situation when the record continues.
Folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.
A return to greatness with you at Trump Tower. Patriot Gold Group is the only gold company with this access.
It's about relationships and loyalty, conservative values and commitment.
Patriots protecting patriots since 2016. Over $1 billion in transactions and home of the no fee for life IRA.
Hey, I'm not just a spokesman, I'm a client since the very beginning.
Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide. The only firm nationwide where you, the client, work directly with an owner. Home of the no fee for life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
When an earache strikes, you need relief fast. Introducing Earache RX from Dr. Easy, the makers of Wax RX. Not just another eardrop, Earache RX is real medicine with 4% lidocaine. Earache RX has the maximum strength available without a prescription. Strong enough for adults, yet gentle enough for kids. Earache RX gives you fast relief that starts working on contact. Don't wait for an earache to strike. Get the power of real medicine. Get Earache RX at these fine retailers.
I am Mr. H, owner of Immuno 150, possibly the most complete and best nutritional supplement in the world, bar none. Now, it has propelled me to 91 years of age, and my wife Shirley to 82. Both of us are still cutting a wide swath in life, doing everything we did many years ago. All because of Immuno 150. And it can do the very same thing for you. Try it for 90 days so you can experience the difference it can make in your life. Nothing on the market can compete with the way we blend 70 plant-derived colloidal minerals with 80 very carefully selected nutrients. You'll be surprised if you take the recommended dose of Immuno 150 for 3 months. Place your order now so that you can be with us many years from now. Thank you and God bless.
Lara Logan here with some news for you. Men's testosterone levels today are roughly half of what they were 50 years ago. And after the age of 30, testosterone drops around 1% every year. Chalk's male vitality supplements may be the answer for you. They contain ingredients clinically proven to boost natural testosterone production. Go to chalk.com and use code TV to get a huge discount. Or call or text the number on your screen today.
Every day, bumps and bangs happen. Bruises are optional. Used daily, dermatologist-recommended Dermen Moisturizing Bruise Cream can help restore your skin's natural barrier and reduce the appearance of bruises. If you have mature skin and bruise easily, get Dermen Moisturizing Bruise Cream in the first aid aisle and get back to having way too much fun.
A semi-tractor trailer got into a sticky situation on a highway in Illinois. The truck turned over, spilling 46,000 pounds of applesauce. The mess shut down parts of Interstate 57 for about 4 hours. A towing company called Rick's Towing arrived at the scene to help. The company shared the video and these pictures with us. Police say no one was injured in the crash. I have no idea what all that applesauce is worth. Maybe you do, I do not. The Chris Salcedo Show is up next. Have a great evening. Stay with Newsmax.